Okay, hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about the high skill in Filipino martial arts. And for example, in boxing, what is the high skill? The high skill is to be able to hit the opponent without getting hit. That is the sweet science of boxing. In Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is to basically submit the other person, the opponent, without injuring them, right? Like you're able to put them to sleep and you didn't really hurt them. That is the high skill of not just BJJ but some other grappling arts as well. Okay, so for Filipino martial arts, I'm talking about KEA, especially Kali, Escrima, Arnis. What are we talking about? And the high skill to me, to give you guys an example, I'm gonna talk about Balintawak real quick. Okay, so yeah, the reason why is I'm not trying to target Balintawak. I'm not trying to pick on them. No, I have nothing against them. Okay, Balintawak is just very popular right now, so it's easy to understand. I think it's a good example. And so the way that they train in Balintawak, they have a specific method in how they develop the skills that we see. And when you watch Balintawak videos and you watch other KEA videos, you see that it's a little different. Okay, so they have their own training system. That being said, the end result of what they're trying to do, for me, is pretty much the same thing that we see in KEA. The exception is the weapon, or it's one of the high skills that we see in KEA. So let me clarify that. It's one of the high skills, but it's not unique to Balintawak. You see it in plenty of other KEA systems. In fact, I see it in a lot of KEA systems. And I'll go more exactly into what exactly is this high skill, all right? It's just that Balintawak, it looks like what they're doing is a lot more closer to the opponent, but to me, that comes down to weapon choice, right? But the main thing of what they're trying to do, to me, is an entry. You're entering in. And that entry, I see it in pretty much 90% of all across other Filipino martial arts. Now, the high skill level is how do you get in on the opponent? How do you close the distance to where you can now hurt them, right? How do you get in without getting hurt? So in a way, it's a little bit similar to boxing. Is how can you hit them without you yourself getting hurt? Except in Balintawak and other KEA, other Filipino martial arts, we really, really, really focus on the getting in part, the entry. Okay, in my opinion, it should be entry and exit, or entry and what do you do after that. That's important too. But it's instead of covering everything, let's just focus on one thing. So first is entry. If you don't have the entry, forget about what you do next, or how to get out. If you can't even enter, then none of that happens anyway. So let's focus on entry. Okay, why are they focusing on entry? To me, the reason why they're focusing on entry is because when you look at the Filipino martial arts, right, or any martial arts style, do you want to do something that anyone could figure out? Do you want to do something that's easy? Do you want to do something that's so basic, it's so natural that in some ways you really don't even need a teacher, right? No, that's fine, but we cannot consider that high skill. That is not what high skill level is. That's not advanced stuff. So advanced stuff is things that is going to be difficult. You, no matter like how talented you are, you're probably not going to just easily figure it out. No, it's not. It takes a system. It takes multiple people. It takes experiences. It takes a group, an organization, and it takes generations to figure this kind of stuff out. Okay, So that's the high skill level part. And an art is going to consist of the high skill level. All right. The problem that I'm seeing in the Filipino martial arts, and maybe all martial arts, especially the traditional martial arts, is that in order for the high skill level to work, you have to understand the basics. And so the problem, if I were to critique Balintawak people, they're working on the high skill without knowing what it is and without knowing the stuff before that. So if you don't know the stuff before that, in my eyes, you cannot make the advanced stuff work, even if you have those skills. I know you think like, well, I have those skills; it should automatically work. That's not the way it happens, So it's like someone that can do a crazy acrobatic kick. You can do that, all right. But does that mean you could use it in a fight? No. In order to be able to fight, you have to have fighting skills. And they're more basic than something like some crazy aerial move like that requires a lot of body mechanic mastery, all right? That you just, if you can't do the more basic, just pure fighting, then it doesn't matter if you know this 720 crazy aerial flipping kick. It's really not going to do you any good. All right, so that's an example that I could give you guys. So you have this advanced skill, but if you don't have the stuff before it, the foundation, it's like building a home. Without a solid foundation, then it's just going to crumble. And in combat, you will crumble. That's the way that I see it. So what I'm doing is I am trying to. I've been organizing the Filipino martial arts curriculum, and I've been presenting to you guys, this is priority. This is foundational stuff. This is fundamentals. This is what you got to do. That's what I've been trying to do for a very specific system, which is my own system. I can't cover everybody, but that's what I've been doing. All right. And that's where, okay, so I'm going to try to make it even more sense to you how this kind of stuff fits in. Is I've been telling you guys that in my system, we go by the 4 ranges of combat, which is actually based off of Filipino martial arts. I've seen Filipino martial arts, and there's different styles that some specialize in longer range, some specialize in different ranges, right? So I basically broke it down to 4 ranges: long range, medium range, close range, and ground range. So within that, medium range, and ground range, those two, I've said to you guys many, many times, is a fighting range. And in a street situation, I don't want to fight. Unless I'm going to get paid and it's like a competition, why would I fight this no-namer and risk all kinds of injury, risk maybe I murder the guy, or maybe they murder me. Or even if I win, the next day they come back and get revenge on me. They remember who I am. I could never walk these streets again. There's a lot of reasons why it's not worth it. Not worth it to fight them. Well, why do I want to? Because fighting leads to, I want to show how tough I am. I have something to prove. I have a test right here. So I want to show that I could dominate. I want to show that I could win. I want to show that I'm a badass. Well, none of that's important. None of that's important. You walk into prison, you act tough, they're going to show you that you're not. So the streets, the bad neighborhoods, kind of the same way. You go in there and you try to act all badass, they're going to put you down real fast. So the way that I see this, right, is it's about survival. And therefore, fighting really has nothing to do with survival unless you have to. And those are small and few in between. So really it's about survival, which means long range and close range. Those are the non-fighting ranges that I classify as. Now, I do have to specify here because that's not exactly accurate. Can you fight in long range and can you fight in close range? Absolutely. Absolutely. But for our intensive purposes, which is survival, I consider those two the non-fighting ranges. They're less fighting than medium range and ground range for sure. So with those two ranges, that's what we want to do. So to me, what Balintawak and so many other, what they teach you in Filipino martial arts, so much of the other part of the curriculum is about going from long range into medium range. That's what a lot of it is. And that is when you have the skill and you're playing with fire. You're making something that shouldn't happen. And that's why I tell you guys, don't do medium range. Medium range is fighting. Don't do it. The other guy has a knife, or the other guy has a lead pipe. Don't do it. Or even empty hand. He might just hit really hard. Don't do it. Don't do medium range stuff, right? But if you have the skill, and if you are forced, you have no choice but to be in medium range, then you are able to bend the rules of nature or the laws of nature. You are able to do something amazing. And that is what a lot of FMA is that amazing part that I'm talking about. The part that shouldn't happen, you're able to make it happen. And that is what high skill does. Advanced skills makes something that's not supposed to happen able to happen. In a way, you're a superhero. But every time you engage in that, that's a bad situation. And once again, you have no guarantees to be able to pull that off. You have no guarantees, but it makes it advanced. It makes it amazing because you just might. Okay, so I understand this. I understand that. And I want you guys to know that as great as that is, if that's your main thing, is to go into the most dangerous range and do your stuff there, and that's all you got, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make, like I said, your foundation should be long range and close range, and more specifically, long range defense, close range defense. That's what it should be for street, if that's what you're interested in. That's what your priority should be. And as far as advanced skills, hey man, if you have it, great. But without understanding this stuff that I'm telling you about, the priorities, the foundations, the fundamentals, the more basic stuff, the advanced stuff to me just simply cannot come alive. Cannot, because you don't know what you're doing. You're missing steps. You have an incomplete picture. And then that means you are going in with the wrong mindset. Like I said, you're missing stuff and you think you can do it. So you are basically in a fantasy world, not because the techniques are fantasy, but because you don't have complete training. And that's just my opinion. So, it's not that I'm against the style. I hope you guys understand. It's not that I'm against what is being presented here, but it's more so the how it's being presented and the people that learn it, their attitudes on it. I made a video talking about sharing my opinion on Balintawak, and someone, basically left a comment saying that, I don't know what I'm talking about. And if they don't explain what it is that I don't know what I'm talking about, where I'm wrong, or where they think I'm wrong, or what, if they don't go into the details, then they don't know what they're talking about. And they think that I'm the one being critiqued, but in actuality, to me, it shows me how much that they don't know what they're talking about, and it's revealing to me about them, that they basically saw my video and they got offended by it, and they lashed out back. This is not a critique. They just lashed out. So it tells me their personality is kind of petty, that they can't sit down and with a calm, cool-headed brain, let's break down what you said, your opinion, and let's break down what I said, and let's go into more details. They don't have that capability. All they did was give me a put down. And so that tells me a lot about them, and that they're not worth my time. Okay, so I hope this video can help people understand that, you want the complete picture of how the combat's going to go. Okay, and if you're only working on the advanced stuff, that only gives you a very small picture, is what I'm saying. All right, and it's going to give you a very small picture of a very specific situation that you really don't want to be in, because it's advanced for a reason. It's and like I said, advanced stuff is being able to pull off something that you're not supposed to normally be able to, like the average person cannot pull off. That is advanced. That is to me really the definition of what is advanced. Okay. But before, and I know that sounds awesome. I want to do that. You don't even really want to let it get there, is what I'm saying. So, that should be more of like a backup, right? So if I'm grappling someone, they take my back and they are about to sink in the rear naked choke, and I counter this technique with like what is it? What is the technique called? A shin lock. Okay, so I counter this technique with a shin lock and they tap out. All right, that's advanced technique right there, right? That's advanced. If you understand grappling, that's not a position you want to be in. And that's not a trade that I want to be going to. Even catch wrestlers, because the shin lock comes from catch wrestling, even the catch wrestlers will tell you, that's not what the shin lock is for. You shouldn't be trading a rear naked choke for a shin lock. That don't do it. So I hope I'm making it clear there. That to me, that is what this is like. Okay, that is to me what the advanced stuff is. You go into medium range against someone in the street, there's a high chance that they're going to be able to hit you. If they have a knife, they're going to cut you. If they have a stick or imp bludgeoning weapon, they're gonna bash you with it. Okay, that some kind of exchange is gonna happen. Yeah, you might stab them, you might cut them, you might bash them too. But then now it comes down to who's more durable. Do you want to be playing that game? So it just that doesn't make sense to me. And the Filipinos, remember, they are experts. Throughout history, they've been experts at guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare, the number one priority is survival. If you don't survive, you can't go in and harass them, because that's what a guerrilla warfare is. Because you can't go straight up to them and battle head to head, you are doing like these small skirmish attacks where you're doing harassment attacks. You come in, you harass them, and you leave. You come in, steal their weapons, and you leave. You come in, mess this up, and leave. You repeatedly making them weaker. You're taking into a much harder battle for them when they should have just annihilated you guys. That's what you're doing. You're making it nasty, a nasty, nasty war. And in order for that to keep happening, you need to survive. So you can't go in there and trade. The moment you do that, your numbers will dwindle real fast. And then before you know it, you can't do anything, So I hope that makes sense. That's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.